sexual abuse in children. And we all know this. Children think that they're the center of the universe and they cause things to happen. And unfortunately, what happens is the child who's been subjected to sexual abuse is going to take that guilt on. They won't necessarily tell their parents because they feel shame. And also, you got to understand the abuser. Now, you see, I served on a criminal bench. I watched these kids testify. The abuser will tell them, I'm going to hurt your family if you ever tell this. Now, what does that do? That means that child is going to separate that part of their lives and put it aside. And let me tell you, young women do it who are older and have been subjected to sexual abuse in the workplace. Don't kid yourself. The Me Too movement is not an exception to the rule. It is the rule in the workplace. That women have just kept their mouths shut, kept their heads down because they wanted their career and they didn't dare fight. Just forget it, move on. But then you have the problem of the statute of limitations, even as it is now. There are some statutes that require, when you're a child, that it be brought within so many years after you've come of age. Well, I gotta tell you, that's a hard one to go face. So I'm just sharing with you, as Brad did, the statute of limitations the legislature makes. That's clearly, the law of repose, which is memories, evidence, gets old. There's a reason for a statute of limitations. We have a statute of limitations in torts, which is 3 years. Because you don't want, you've got a problem. You've got a situation where the witnesses die or there's no evidence left. And that's why we have the statute of limitations. So it's created a real problem. Now, in the Catholic Church, and I don't mean just the Catholic Church, I'm Jewish, and I know this happens in any religion. But what happens is, have the higher-ups, the bishops, the heads of hierarchical churches, okay, have they known and let it continue? And that's an issue which is now on the forefront of, shifting.
Well, my issue with issue 1 is that, we have 440,000 people die, a year for medical malpractice. And we don't see all those doctors going to jail. So we have to have, the work that Brad and other attorneys do, to compensate, because we don't put corporations in jail. And so,
well, the bottom line here is accountability. I've read, and probably you've read this, about Texas and its nursing homes. It has the worst nursing homes in the country. And that's because of tort reform. There's no way they can rein in nursing homes in Texas because all you have is a bureaucracy through long-term care, the state's bureaucracy to try to find them and everything. That's just a cost of doing business for them. That's just a cost of doing business. And I will be very honest with you. What they do is they get their CPAs and all their stuff and they figure out, okay, how can I continue to make money and not do what, just like the Pinto, and not do the safe practice because it's going to cost this amount of money. And how can I do it and still stay in business? And bottom line is, if you don't have the accountability of having to face those issues in a courtroom, behavior's not going to change. It's money.
Even though the statute of limitations is a substantive law, that's correct, there is still a rulemaking issue. For example, they can control what evidence comes in. They can control what a psychiatrist can testify to. Give you an example. When Mike Huckabee was governor in 2003, legislation was passed, there was a movement in the legislature to pass a rule where nursing assistants could not testify about what they saw in the nursing home. That didn't pass, but they tried to get it through. The nursing home lobby tried to get it through. We stopped it. What's going to happen when they have that kind of rulemaking authority over the practice of law? It's not, those decisions are no longer being made by judges trying to be fair, both sides, but as Justice Tuck pointed out, by people who have an interest in it. That's when they're going to start tweaking things where the rules of evidence as we know them now become unrecognizable.
The other thing that they will change, and I guarantee it'll happen, is class action.
Yes.
And what they'll do is for those of us, elderlies, who get scammed, you know, there's a fraud type of scheme. You don't lose, each person only loses a little bit of money. Well, lawyers can't take on those little bits of money by themselves. You gotta pool all of that. It's called consumer protection. And so what'll happen is those cases will only be handled by the Attorney General's office through consumer protection. Private lawyers, meaning private attorney generals taking on these cases, won't happen. So I guarantee you, it's a recipe for no accountability in the consumer area.
We have one more question from Fonda Sanders Cauldron. It says, will issue 1 bring doctors to our rural areas and improve our health care?
Let me have that one, please.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.